Hey everybody, it's me, Crazyfrankie, and I'd like to welcome you to my Week 7 4 key game picks. Now, I'm not going to get in too much into week number 6, but I will say a couple of things about week number 6 here. Well, obviously, everybody's been talking about it, talking about what the heck happened in that Indianapolis Colts game. And I'm not talking about how the Colts lost. It's how one of the possibly maybe one of the most boneheaded plays I've ever seen in the National Football League. A 4th down and 3. I think it was in the third quarter of that game. You have the person who's going to hike the ball. You have 2 people right in the center, and you have 9 guys on the right-hand side, not even near the line of scrimmage. You get penalized for an illegal procedure. Then you hike the ball, and you don't even get the first down. There's no words you can explain how in the heck that play happened there, and I can't even explain that either. But this will go down as maybe one of the most boneheaded NFL plays that's ever been done before, up to Marshall's wrong way or whatever, or Martin Dramatica's field goal where he jumps for joy and he breaks his leg. I don't know. That's a tough one to swallow here. But a couple things that also came to my mind. The Lions finally got their first win of the season. It was an ugly game, possibly one of the most ugliest games I've seen all year. But I'm glad that the Lions are back in the winning track. There's no more winless teams, but there are undefeated teams. The Broncos, the Panthers, the Patriots, the Bengals, and I forgot who the other one is also undefeated. But I do know, of course, that the Falcons were defeated by the Saints last week, so now they're off the board from the unbeatens. So tough to say for them, but it was obvious that Atlanta was due for a loss, and some other teams will definitely be due for a loss very soon. But it's tough to say with maybe one team or 2 teams, or 2 teams come to mind, and that's the Packers and the Patriots. Who's to say both these teams could go 16-0 in the regular season? Because the way they're playing right now, I know Patriots have a much easier schedule than the Packers do, but we never know what's going on. Anyways, and speaking of both those teams, I think it's safe to say that these are the 2 best teams in the NFL, the Packers and the Patriots. The way they're playing right now, even though it's only week number 7, but the way they're just playing right now, I mean, you got to give these teams credit here. These 2 teams are on a collision course possibly to be playing in Super Bowl 50. We don't know yet. It's still far too early in the season because you have to remember anything can happen in the NFL. And as far as other things that goes into my mind, Seattle again blowing a lead at the end to keep the Panthers basically undefeated. Or that's basically, it is kind of like a weird week 6 it was. Not much, but some things just boggle your mind in terms of questioning. Oh, here's another one. The Broncos. Speaking of the Broncos, I don't know how in the heck they survived Cleveland, which in all hindsight, Cleveland should have beaten them. I don't know how that happened. But obviously, the Broncos' offense is really their defense because their defense is scoring more points than the offense is. And that to me is just, wow. How's that happening? Anyways, week 6 is over. Let's go into week 7. Now, before I talk about these picks, I know I've been getting a lot of questions that why am I picking the same teams in terms for my videos and all that. I'm not trying to be biased here or anything. The whole point of my videos is basically what I see may be the games to watch. Now, I know last week's wasn't much because I did lose. I think two of those I lost. 2 of those picks I lost was, I know one of them was Seattle because I picked Seattle last week. And guess what? Seattle's going to be talked about again this week. But anyways, let's talk about the picks now. All right, key game number 1, Seattle Seahawks at the San Francisco 49ers, which is the Thursday night game. 49ers coming off a win over Baltimore. Seattle, as I mentioned, 2 blown leads in 2 games. Who's going to win this one here? Both teams are not playing good. They're basically near the bottom of the barrel in the NFC West, and which is really Unbelievable. These two teams, I mean, just a couple of years ago, were in the NFC Championship fighting to get to the Super Bowl. And now these teams are starting to go into the bottom of the barrel in the NFC West. Look, here's a couple questions come to mind here. Will Seattle's defense finally step up? That's going to be the main question in this game. Because the way the 49ers played against Baltimore, they're starting to gain some sort of confidence. Colin Kaepernick is not turning the ball over. The running game's starting to get better. Defense-wise, there needs to be some improvements. One of the 49ers, partially their Achilles heel really is their defense. Their defense is not what it used to be. Neither is Seattle's. Well, mostly the offensive line is basically one of their main problems, but really it's their defense. This become more the issue than their offense. So, like I said, this could not be any more of an even game here, but the odds makers have Seattle as a 6-point favorite. So who am I going to pick in this game? Now, I know I've been picking Seattle lately to see, but I'm pretty sure now, the way Seattle's playing right now, they know they cannot be at the bottom of the barrel here. The 49ers do still have issues right now, and I know this is going to be a tight game on Thursday night. It's a guarantee. I expect this game to be tight all the way, but I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks here. Now, I know all of you are going to question me on this. You're picking Seattle a third time here. Look, I know their defense is struggling, but I think this game, this is the game they finally do something about that problem here. The 49ers have a reliable running game, but let's just see what Colin Kaepernick can do passing, because it still can be an issue here. And I think Seattle will be ready for this game. They need to be, because I think like a lot of the analysts are saying whoever wins this game, basically their season is still alive. Whoever loses this game, pretty much their season is done. But I still think the Seattle Seahawks will finally get off the schneid. I think they'll beat the 49ers here, but it's going to be a very tight game here. I expect this game to be tight all the way, but Seattle will barely edge. I still think Seattle will barely edge out a victory. I'm not trying to play Seattle favorites here or anything and all that, because really, I mean, but I think they finally get back on track. They finally do something about the blown leads here. I think they'll beat the 49ers here, but it'll be a tight game. Key game number 2, divisional game here in the AFC East. The New York Jets at the New England Patriots. Patriots, 9-point favorite in this one. Not a surprise here. But the Jets lately, they're only one game back of New England here. Ivory's running the ball very well. Fitzpatrick is playing very well. But when you play the Patriots here and the way they've been playing here, this is where the Jets hit the wall here. This is going to be quick talk here, because even though I know it's a divisional game, but I really think the Jets will pretty much have breaks will hit the brakes in this one here, because the way the Patriots are playing right now, I don't think anybody's going to stop them in the AFC. It's tough. Who is this good left in the AFC conference? I mean, I'm just looking at the rest of this conference. The conference looks much more weak this year. And the Jets, I don't know, are they ready for this? Can their offense and defense step up against a very good Patriot team? The answer is no. No. I'm going to go with the Patriots here. Chances of this game being very close, there's a slight chance I could see this game possibly being close, but Patriots, I'm pretty sure, will pull away late in the game. We'll probably win by maybe 10 points, maybe 13. But I just don't think the Jets have enough to beat the Patriots. The way the Patriots are playing, they're on a mission. They know full well that who knows if my guess could be they're probably aiming for the perfect season now to pretty much shut up all the critics. So tough to say right now, but will this game be tight? There's a chance it could be tight, but I like the Patriots. The Patriots are too good in this one. There's no question. The Jets are going to hit a roadblock. I like the Patriots here. Patriots over the Jets. Key game number 3, another divisional game, but this time in the NFC East. Dallas Cowboys at the New York Giants. Giants are 3.5-point favorite in this one. I know the Cowboys are struggling to see who's going to be their quarterback. Will it be Redden or Castle? Cowboys are really hurting right now without Tony Romo and without Dez Bryant. Dez Bryant won't be back for a couple more weeks. It's really become a thorn in the Cowboys right now, because really this was a team that was going to be one of the elite teams to possibly get to the Super Bowl, but the Injuries are hurting them. And the way they played 2 weeks ago against the Patriots, I don't know what this Cowboy team's going to match. Now, I know the Giants have injury issues right now. Obviously, Odell Beckham is their only weapon that they got in terms of wide receivers, and the running game hasn't been much. And I know they got embarrassed last week by the Eagles. That game was so ugly last week, even though the Eagles won. But hey, it was basically the turnover game. That's what I like to call that. But anyways, going to this game between the Giants and the Cowboys here, expect a tight game here. This one is going to be tight. And there's no question the Giants are looking for revenge here from that embarrassing loss in Dallas in week number 1. But I expect this game to be close because the way the Giants played last week, who's to say the struggles are still going to continue here, but I still like the Giants in this one. I think the Giants will barely edge out a victory against the Cowboys. They'll get their revenge from week number 1, but it's going to be a very close game in this one. And 3.5 points I think is fair. It's fair to say right there. But we'll wait and see what happens here. I expect this game to be very close here. Giants over the Cowboys. And key game number 4, the Philadelphia Eagles at the Carolina Panthers. Now, I know the Eagles are, they're on a 2-game winning streak here, and that's really the first winning streak that they've had all season. But now you're going against a very tough Carolina Panthers team. Now, it's very hard for me to get into that closure to put at mind now that Carolina is now trying to be an elite team, because really, I want to see them play the Falcons first. That's one thing. I want to see them during the season. I want to see them play the Falcons and then see what happens here, because both the Falcons and the Panthers are in first place. Actually, no, the Panthers are in first place. Sorry about that. I forgot. They're still undefeated. Falcons have a loss. Carolina is moved in the first place in the NFC South with Atlanta just 1 game back. But anyways, talking about Eagles and Panthers here. Now, for the Eagles, they cannot have the turnovers that they did against the Giants, even though they won. McCoy really has to play very good in this game. The game is in Carolina. The Panthers are a 3-point favorite in this one. Possibly could be maybe more. But I think 3 points is fair. The Eagles right now, like I said, McCoy has to get the running game going, and Bradford needs to play much better than he did on Monday night. As far as Carolina is concerned here, well, Cam Newton is playing very well. I mean, he's been fortunate that the turnover ratio for him has been pretty low. But it's probably going to be a much closer game than people anticipate. But I see the Carolina Panthers winning this one here because the way the Panthers offense is rolling, they possibly could win the game for them, because the Eagles defense, I do question a little bit here. They're not as strong as I thought they were, but really, it's really the Eagles offense that needs to get it going. Otherwise, I see the Panthers winning this game, and I'm going to pick the Panthers here. It'll be a tight game, but I think the Panthers will pretty much squeak out a victory in Carolina on Sunday night. If Cam Newton doesn't turn the ball over and he can get the like I said, Carolina's defense right now is a bit of a question right now, because really their defense almost lost the game for them last week against the Seahawks. But I expect this game to be pretty tight. 3 points is fair from the odds makers. I do agree with them, but I like the Panthers in this one. Panthers in a close game. Panthers over the Eagles. All right, everybody, that wraps up my picks for week number 7. Go to thesportblog.blogspot.com for all of my week 7 picks. And until then, I will see you all next week for when I talk about my picks for week number 8. Until then, take care and enjoy your football weekend.